Hey everyone, with all the shelf installations and picture hanging I currently have going on at both houses, I decided to pick up this Walabot DIY2 and try it out. At the time of this video, selling for $189 on Amazon, which is pretty steep for a stud finder. We're going to find out if it's worth it. Taking a look at the features on the box, it detects wood, metal, pipes and wires, as well as animals in the wall. And this model, the DIY2, works with both iPhone and Android. The previous model only working with Android. Let's unbox. A small instruction manual is found on top. This lets you know how to install the software onto your iPhone or Android. Followed by the device itself, the Walabot DIY2. And finally, the USB charging cable. And that's it for the unboxing. I found it funny, 2020 whatever, there's no QR code to open up the app on the App Store on the documentation or box, but whatever. I'll do it the old-fashioned way, like we did a long time ago, where we actually typed in the name of the app into the App Store, uphill both ways, barefoot in the snow. And there it is. I'll install it now. I think I forgot to mention without shoes, uphill both ways without shoes. But now it's installed, we'll hit the open button. And I'll read this long privacy policy disclaimer for using my stud finder. Who would have thought you'd ever have a privacy policy for a stud finder? But I'm going to click I agree. Now I'm going to zoom in there a bit. It now asks me, do I have a Walabot device? Yes. Yes, I do. So I'm going to click yes. This is already getting annoying. I do not want to have to log in to my stud finder. Having created an account and logged into the app, it's now asking which one of the Walabots I have. I guess it can't figure that out automatically. I select this one up top, my DIY2, and now it goes through a setup dialog where I hit start. Now hold down the button for 2 seconds and the blue light will turn on, so I do so. There's that button, the purple button. And now it's blue, so we're good. I hit continue. And now we scan the QR code on the back of the Walabot, which I guess that could have been used to identify it in the first place, but whatever, no big deal. I press scan, give permission for my camera to be used when I hit scan. Scan that code right there. And now it's going to do some Wi-Fi pairing, so I hit connect. I'll say I want to join that network. I hit join. Now I wait. I click OK on this permissions dialog. And now it says it's transferring software to the Walabot. So I click OK. Asked me again if I want to join the network, so I hit join. Sped up 4 times the speed. It takes 20 seconds for this device to connect every time it's turned on. And after a long delay, it's finally connected. You're greeted with some information about wall types. Once it connects, you could click next. I figured next would be a different wall type, but it seems to do the same function as skip and takes you right to calibration. I guess we're going to pick a wall and try out calibration then. I've picked a wall where I know there's both a stud and electric in this area where I'm going to be doing a calibration. I click that calibrate button and there's an instruction on the phone tells me to place it firmly and flat against the wall, which I do. And now I hit start calibration on the phone. I'm supposed to turn it in circles. It says move in a circular motion, and it looks like it's indicating that the circle should be made bigger in circumference. I do see a problem with this for areas where there'd be a very small amount of space. How would I be able to calibrate this? We'll look at that later. But for right now, calibration's finished, and it asks what type of scan mode. We'll use image first to see how that looks. Press start scan instead of the tutorial, and we'll get right into it. So I'm slowly going to move the sensor around the wall. Again, I know where things are in this particular portion of the wall. As I move towards the left, we're going to find, we see purple pipe/wire detected, that from the electrical outlet below. These being effigies, not actually seeing through the wall, it's just an interpretation. But we'll move over to expert now to see what it actually sees. So I'll press on expert, and we see what looks like a heat map. And there's obviously some sort of code or algorithm that makes an interpretation based on this map to determine what's there. And this expert mode not only shows what the device is actually seeing, but also shows the overlay of the wooden stud and the pipe and the wire itself with some dashed lines, which in my opinion makes the expert mode the superior option. But I'd like to go back and forth between the two because I want to see what the device is seeing and how it interprets it in the regular mode. So I'm just switching back and forth between the two while I have something in picture. Changes made here on this left-hand side from 80% down to 20, back up to 90 to 100 seem to have no bearing on what the image is displayed on the screen. I've moved it back to 80 and I'm moving around again. And I do not know, just by looking at this image, how it's able to determine whether it's a stud or a pipe or rodent or a electrical cable or whatnot. But it appears that they figured out how to do so with that. My assumption is that there is more data made available to this device than the expert mode displays, but they're not going to show that to everybody. Do get some false positives now and again that come out of nowhere, and then they do not repeat. They're just phantom beams that appear and then disappear and then don't come back. So we just saw one of those happen. I would imagine that a nail or a cluster of nails that were put in by a builder, or perhaps a piece of wood that was used for a repair of drywall, is enough to make the sensor do that. So that's understandable. I do want to press the configuration on the bottom left. You can change the units, shut off the helper's guide, change the light color chart, and that's about it. There's also a support button on the bottom right, so I'm going to press that. And it has an issue selection for you to use and also information about your device that I imagine could go straight to support to expedite the help that you require. One more thing I wanted to check out on the initial test. It's worth noting, obviously, that if you're scanning the wall and you pull the device away from the wall, it's not calibrated to work away from the wall, so you're going to get unexpected results if you do that. In this case, the wooden stud turned into a metal stud in our detection, which gives us some insight as to how it works. But if I go down to our box here and place it directly on the switch box, we can see that it detects it if I float over as a metal stud. So very interesting. I want to see what happens now if you shut off the device and reconnect to it. So I push the power button in. The app eventually detected that it was disconnected, so I'm now going to reconnect. I'm going to hold the button in and allow it to turn back on. So I hold it a couple seconds and it is red. And now it is blue. Now I'm going to press the reconnect button. And now it's asking me again if I want to pair, so I join. And again, I speed it up. From the time I press that button, that reconnect process is about 25 seconds. And everything here seems like the first connectivity to the device when I first got it all over again, right down to the help video. This is like they leveraged the initial connect procedure as a standard connection procedure for this device. Taking a look, I do see the battery icon on the top right. I click it, and it says that it is a bit low. So I think I'm going to press got it, and we're going to have to plug this in and charge it before we continue any further testing. And we'll see if it stays connected during charging. A couple seconds later, the charging indication comes up, and the device stays on and connected, so we'll come back when it's fully charged. Fully charged, we're ready to do some comparative testing, and I don't know where the beams are on this wall, but I do know we have to start the calibration process all over again as we come to the new work area. And I don't know if I started with smaller circles, if I wouldn't have to make such bigger circles for the outer circles, but the area gets pretty big for the calibration in following the instructions on the phone. But now we're calibrated, so I'm going to start moving the Walabot, and I may have just seen a beam, but I'm moving to the right. I have no area I'm working with to the left of me. So I'm going to continue proceeding to the right. And now I see a flashing wooden stud, but then when I move to the right, there's nothing there. There's that phantom, sort of a phantom stud. I'd mentioned before, just a phantom comes up. But here, looks like what's actually a wooden stud. This one is not an apparition. It seems genuine. So I move back and forth across it. And it also does tell you, there's a little tiny arrow tells you where the middle of it is, which is also helpful. I flip over to Expert so I can take a look on there. Expert will also show you that middle point too. As I go to left, it sort of disappears and we come into that image. And there's the middle of that stud. I wonder if that little piece on the bottom just covered up by the calibrate button is what it's using to determine that that's actually the stud. Maybe there's more than one sensor in here working in tandem to make these determinations. I'm going to compare this now to the StudBuddy, which is $5. Now, this does not find studs in the wall. This finds nails that go through drywall into studs, effectively finding the stud. And if there are no nails, you're not going to find anything. But because the drywall is generally nailed in at each beam, you're generally going to find a stud. Simple, cheap, and effective, but extremely limited in scope. So I'll leave it here where it found the stud, and zoom out to see the center dot of where the Walabot found the stud, and both of them are right on the mark. Next will be the Zircon, my go-to stud finder, at about $20. Calibration takes about 5 seconds, and then you just slowly slide it till you find the outer edge of the stud, slide it more to find the other outer edge, and then you find the center. So that was the extent of power on and calibration, sliding slowly to the right towards the stud. Indicators showing we're slowly approaching the edge of the stud. Every indication now showing us we're right at the edge. We'll keep moving to the right. And now it's showing we just rolled off the other edge, so we come back, and now we're on that edge. So we could see the two edges of the stud based on the indication, and we could also see from this, if we marked both of those, the center point of the stud, which would take us right here to this mark. And that mark sits right here, exactly center with the Walabot and the StudBuddy. For the purposes of finding studs and not needing nails to do so, the Zircon is as effective as the Walabot for finding studs with a little bit of creativity. One thing not made clear is to whether the calibration needs to be done in the general working area or not. For areas where there's no way that there would be enough room to do that full-size calibration, can you calibrate somewhere else in the house and just walk it over to that area and work? Or will there be issues with the sensitivity or the accuracy of the results due to changes in density from different sheetrock manufacturers or other variables? All in all, I have to say I did like the Walabot DIY2 and felt it could have competed against its most similar competitor, the Bosch Detect 200C, which is like $1,000. And all I felt they were really missing was a built-in touchscreen display on the back of the unit instead of connecting it to an iPhone or an Android phone over wireless and having all that extra complexity. This would have made it a polished product in my opinion. You'd have one hand free to make the marks, you didn't need one hand to hold the sensor, one hand to hold the phone. But its annoying phone connectivity and the constant calibration made it a gimmick, but a gimmick that I really enjoyed. So I'm on the fence about this. I really like it. It's kind of impractical and expensive, but it's really not bad. So something you may not need at this price, but it is something you may want. And that concludes this video for the unboxing, setup, demo, and comparison of the Walabot DIY2. I hope you found this video enjoyable, entertaining, and informative. Do me a favor, hit that like button down below, helps me out a lot when you do, and hit that subscribe button for more videos like this when they come out. When the next video in the series comes out, a link will be posted in the top right corner. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Would you like to reply?